These ones got a little tear in it now.
Gives them character.
It's in the winter you need them.
Oh, we're doing things.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to GameStack Podcast right here on We Just Love Games Network. You are listening to episode 173, the seventh annual Stack Awards, a tradition you have all come to know year over year where we list the nominees for Stack Awards in a plethora of different gaming categories. I am your co-host Vendertron, and Shalene and I host this awards show with the two very special guests joining us this evening, the illustrious Jessica Starr, burning as bright as ever, and we are also joined by the unassailable Tim Twig, like a fortress made of laughter and reinforced with wit. Our guests are returning back to bringing their amazing, unwavered acumen for all things gaming, and of course, the show is not complete without our wonderful co-host, Shalene. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, Shalene. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing okay. Is now the time for my news?
Sure. Do you have news?
Okay.
I mean,
I do. I
this
have
just
some
in.
news. So I was just about to tell you guys before the show that I won a major award. I'm a major award. And I'm really excited about this. The state of New Mexico, where I reside, the Department of Transportation for the state of New Mexico held a Name a Snowplow contest. And I won. I had the winning snowplow name.
No.
Oh
What?
my gosh.
What? Okay, wait, what was the name?
One of New Mexico's fine esteemed snowplows is now named Walter Whiteout.
That is so clever, though.
That
I
is
like what you did there.
So good.
They sent me a certificate, and I'm going to print it out and frame it and put it on the wall in my office at work.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that you should probably send it out in a memo as well, or have some sort of event where you receive the award officially.
The accolades that I so rightly deserve.
Now
This is going to be a Disney movie.
You'll be opening
gonna be-
supermarkets and
Like Cool Runnings, you got a snowplow in Arizona. They got christened. I mean, God.
That is so good. Also, welcome to our guests. Hello, Jess. How are you? Oh, you're muted.
Jess, you're muted.
I'm doing great, Vendor, Shalene, everybody. I was just checking my sounds. I didn't want to interrupt Shalene's big news. But yeah, super excited for the Stack Awards. Coming in a little bit later, but better than ever.
Yeah, apologies that we're a few minutes late, but we do have a very busy show tonight. And before we hop into it, also, hello to Tim Twig81. Hello, Tim. How are you?
Hi. I don't know why you guys keep inviting me back, but
It's really
I appreciate
nice to
it.
have you back. When was the last time we had Tim on? Was it the last Stack Awards? I think it might have been. No, I think Dave
I
did
think
this.
we've had him
Dave
since
Chaffins
then.
did
I think
the
we've had
6th
one.
annual
We
show
had
with us.
Jess on the last Stack Awards.
Yep. And I think Tim was, with you like late summer, early fall again.
Yeah.
Sometime.
It's probably been about 6 months. We have like the 6-month pattern.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
works.
I'm pretty sure Dave Chaffins is overdue for his.
I know. I was just
return
talking to him about
GameStack.
that. Dave, we're sorry. You didn't make the cut this year for the Stack Awards. So.
I'm sure there's some big Mothman news we need him for. Please, bring him on.
Well, I can't tell you I did the homework this time, so I won't be as fumbly, but we'll see.
Yeah, so welcome one and all on this Friday evening. We're so happy that you could join us and be here with us, as always, live in the chat. I see lots of people popping in. We hope that your week went very well. And for those of you who are listening in after the fact, thank you for your continued support and listening to the show. It's just that's what keeps us going, right? So it's very exciting. This is the 7th annual Stack Awards. Can you believe that it's 7? We've been doing this for 7 years.
It's a little hard to believe, actually.
I mean,
That's
I
a
would
long
believe it if it
time.
was like biannually, but
Mhm.
7 years.
And just to clear things up, if anybody's new here, because every episode is somebody's first episode, we actually these are the 2023 gaming awards. We like to wait until the year is over so we can be sure, we've
Yeah,
had every
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. Although we should do like a spoof stack awards at the beginning of January and be like,
That would be
these
hilarious.
are the games that are gonna happen, that are gonna
You know,
Mhm.
win, and then
make it a
compare it.
predictions
Yeah,
episode. Yeah,
predictions.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's smarter to do it. Like that's why I like coming in a little bit late, like you guys do. You know what I mean? Give us a chance
Mhm.
to digest in January. Catch up
Yeah.
on at least a little bit of the
Mhm.
stack because I feel like January is like my biggest stack catch up month from like Christmas to January
Mhm.
30th. You know, so it gives you a
Mhm.
chance to evaluate, get ready to actually talk about them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it is exciting to have you guys back. Don't forget, though, that the show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase of that blend goes to the Children's Miracle Network. As always, tell your friends about the show. Let's get them in here live in the chat on Fridays. We love to have live people in the room. And if you haven't joined our Discord and you're popping in for the first time, scroll down below in our About information on our Twitch page. You can click the Discord link, which will take you directly into the chat after dark. And the Discord has been really busy this week. Lots of people have been posting their Game of the Year in the GameStack challenge screenshots. So we're going to share that with you as well. There's been a lot of conversation in the Zelda channel, partially my fault. But also the GameStack marketplace has been really lively. There's lots of deals. I see Citizen Sleeper is on sale for $9.99, which I think was Jess's game of the year last year.
Game of the year last
Yeah,
year. Yeah,
yeah.
great sale. Pick it up at any price.
Yeah. So if you are interested in getting involved in our community, join our Discord. And also, let's give our guests a chance to shout out their community as well before we hop into the guts of the show. Tim, why don't you go ahead?
Um, Surprise. Well, I like hanging out at the same Discord server you guys do. That's a pretty fun place. You got a lot of characters in there that are fun to bounce off of. I've got a little bit more raucous community, I think, next door at the House of Hooligans. You guys are all familiar, but I like to promise at the beginning of every episode that I'll try to keep the F-bombs at a minimum because I know you guys wipe your feet before you walk into your place. I can't. I mean, I don't know.
We
I
don't
don't know.
wear
I can't.
shoes here. We don't wear shoes.
Um,
Not in this studio. I mean, maybe Shalene does, but I don't.
Uh, I have house shoes.
House
So.
shoes. Yeah. I
Mhm.
also have house shoes now. You'd be so proud of me. Look, these are my house
Ooh,
shoes. Yeah.
nice. I've got sparkly Ugg ones.
Of course you do. Of course you do. I thought you said you weren't dressing fancy for tonight. Jess, what about you? Any shout outs from your end, your community?
Sure. Big shout out to my crew over at ASA Podcasting on the Fallout feed, Skyrim Addict, all of our different shows. We've got a great community there. A lot of crossover with We Just Love Games because we all just love games.
We
I
do.
also stream over on Twitch at You Wastelanders. That's the letter U Wastelanders. Fallout Focus channel. We're kind of on hiatus, but I'm still doing special events. I just did a couple big streams for a conference. I did some big St. Jude fundraising streams over Christmas. So yeah,
nice.
yeah, check out You Wastelanders if you would.
Wonderful. Well, tonight's show is usually a lot different than what you might be used to hearing in your earbuds. Typically, with the Stack Awards, we go through various different categories as an adaptation from what you would expect with the Game Awards, save for a few additional categories that we like to add to our own list. We also talk about the games the games that made us and the games that came throughout the year. And we are adding a new segment this year in asking people to fulfill their GameStack challenge by posting their game of the year in the GameStack challenge photos channel in the Discord. So we'll start the show off by going through 2023 in video games, and I'm just going to walk us through. Feel free to interrupt me at any time. Obviously, this will be like an open discussion, and then I'll hop into the screenshots and stories. I don't even have a bumper for this. There we go. So, the video game industry was very busy this year. We saw a lot of significant changes within larger publishers and developers. We tirelessly reported on the Microsoft Activision soiree, and after Microsoft, after satisfying all of the regulatory bodies, actually completed its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, which actually made them the third largest game publisher in the world. Embracer Group, which had been an acquisition spree over the previous few years, had an estimated $2 billion deal that fell through, which caused a lot of studios under Embracer to either lay off staff or close off entirely. And we also saw a lot of layoffs, and we continue to see a lot of layoffs in the gaming industry over the course of 2023. Unity, Amazon, ByteDance, Epic Games, Bungie, and Ubisoft, leading to over 9,000 jobs across the industry that were lost in 2023 alone. There were some pretty significant awards won, and I'll just quickly highlight Baldur's Gate 3, the game of the year, which I think is pretty great. It also
From which lesser award show was that, Bender?
This is the Game Awards on December 7th,
Okay,
2023. Yeah. And we also seen the Japan Game Awards in 2023 in October as well. Monster Hunter Rise took their game of the year, and there was a lot of critically acclaimed titles that came out this year as well. Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, which was a big one. Has any of you have played? Shalene, Tim, I believe you both have played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a masterpiece of a game. If you haven't played it, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. Jess, what about you? Did you play Zelda?
I did not, but I have a feeling we're going to hear a lot about it tonight.
Probably. I mean, 2023, there was a number of highly praised video games that were released, and it was actually it was considered by critics to be actually higher compared to most years. 25 games having a 90 out of 100 or better aggregate score on Metacritic by October 2023, which is a big deal. This making it the best year by number of highly praised games since 2004. And this year was comparable to the slate of highly praised releases in 1992, 97, and 2008. And the reason for this was that most of the top games were delayed or not even developed until after the COVID-19 pandemic. So we're now finally starting to see the wave of work that has been put off to come back in, leading to greater high-quality gaming overall. And a ninth generation of consoles as well, which is pretty crazy. Baldur's Gate, we saw Baldur's Gate released, Metroid Prime Remastered, which Tim that's his candy right there. Resident Evil 4,
so good.
Other really big titles, Street Fighter 6, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which was much anticipated, Turbo Overkill, Cyberpunk 2077, Dave the Diver, interestingly enough, is on this list as a highly praised title.
Well, I mean, it
It was
fantastic.
very.
Ghost Trick, Phantom Detective, Videoverse, Quake 2, Enhanced Edition, the making of Karateka, Jack Gene, Spider-Man 2, Tents and Trees. Then we also saw a lot of major events happening. In January, we see NetEase Games acquired Skybox Labs. Google's cloud streaming service Stadia closed, with all hardware and software purchases being refunded. In
Bender,
February,
was that just this year?
that was
that
just
was-
this year in January.
That was this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, it feels like
Yep.
Stadia's been dead for, well, I mean, it was kind of
It was
on
dead.
arrival.
It was dead
So,
on
yeah.
arrival. Yeah.
Pour one out for our homie Stadia.
Your heart was in the right place. I'll give you that.
In February, Nintendo released Super Nintendo World opened to the public in Universal Studios Hollywood in California. Have
That's
you
on my list. That's
you
right
haven't
down the
been
road
there?
from
Okay.
me. No,
Okay.
it's coming soon. TM.
March was a busy month. The Game Developers Conference returned to an all physical format at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Is it Moscone or Moscone?
I've
I
heard
I
have no
believe it's
idea.
Moscone.
Moscone. We saw Atari announced its intent to acquire Night Dive Studios for $10 million. Nintendo closed their Nintendo eShop for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U. Good night,
It'd be
sweet
sad to see that
princess.
go.
Entertainment Software Association announced that E3 2023 was canceled due to a lack of major publisher attendance. And that was
Pour one out for that one.
Shalene's saddest
Man.
news this year, probably, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss E3.
In April, we saw Legendary Entertainment secure TV and film rights of Capcom's Street Fighter franchise, which is interesting. Savvy Games Group announced its intent to acquire Scopely for $4.9 billion. Epic Games acquired Brazil-based studio Aquiris. Focus Entertainment acquired Dovetail Games, and Sony Interactive acquired Firewalk Studios under its PlayStation Studio label. In June, Apple announced the Apple Vision Pro, which just released a couple weeks ago, a mixed reality headset set to release, while it was set to release in early 2024, which they seem to be on schedule. Any comments on that, Jess?
No,
Okay.
no, just enjoying the memes. I'm enjoying
Yes.
the memes with
Did
the
you see-
$3,500 headset.
Did you see the one of the two guys in the McDonald's and they're eating burgers and he's like eating and then he's like, and they're just like it's the weirdest thing. It's
Augmented
very...
reality is awesome. I mean, there's so much potential there. I mean, you can make it like a replicator vendor. You could be having McDonald's, but you can make it look like you're eating like squid or
I
something
know.
completely random.
We finally have reached the point that Back to the Future always thought we would reach.
Mhm.
But yeah, anyways, the 2023 Summer Game Fest was held through a combination of in-person and streamed video events over the 40 publishing partners. Embracer Group began undergoing a large-scale restructuring program due to the failure of a planned US $2 billion deal, which affected many of its studios and ongoing projects. And the Hollywood Bowl Orchestra performed a 10-year anniversary concert for the Game Awards. Or they were announced to at the end of the year awards ceremony that it has been running since 2014. This was their 10th annual show. We've almost been running as long as the Game Awards, Shalene.
I mean, it's we
I'd
had
say
to
you've been here
create
longer
a
just
better alternative
'cause.
is the thing. Someone had to. Someone had to.
Oh man. July was a short month. Tencent announced its intent to acquire majority shares in Techland. That's pretty much what happened in the gaming industry in July. But in August, QuakeCon returned as a live in-person event at Grapevine, Texas, following 3 years of digital formats due to the pandemic. The 2023 Pokemon World Championships took place in Pacifico Yokohama Convention Center in Japan. Sega Sammy Group completed the acquisition of Rivio Entertainment for $775 million. Nintendo also announced the Charles Martinet will be stepping back from recording voices of Mario and other characters. That was some big news that we had covered previously. The Gamescom convention took place at the Kölnmesse in Cologne, Germany. Sorry.
Don't ask me on that one, vendor.
Apologies
No,
to our German
Moscone.
listeners. Yeah, Moscone. As part of its restructuring, Embracer Group finally shuttered Volition. And then in September, Nintendo of America hosted Nintendo Live, an in-person event that was introduced in Japan back in 2017 in Seattle. Unity Technologies also announced the new radioactive licensing fee for the Unity game engine to start in 2024. This actually generated quite a bit of backlash with the indie game community, and that criticism actually led Unity to rework the fee structure to less aggressive terms pretty much a week later. Do you remember that, Shalene? That was wild.
I do. That was a crazy time.
Yeah,
That was a dumb idea.
that was so
What
stupid.
a year, man. All this dumb stuff happened in 2023.
There's more
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Spread it out next
There's
year.
more dumb
Spread it
stuff.
out.
I think maybe people were just trying to get it out of their system after the pandemic.
I remember being angry a lot when putting the news together for GameStack over the past year.
It was mostly brought on by Microsoft Activision,
I was
but
so tired of reporting on that.
Yeah, that and layoffs. My
yeah,
goodness.
yeah,
Great games coming in, great people going out.
yeah, yeah. The Tokyo Game Show convention took place at Makuhari Messe in Chiba, Japan. Jim Ryan, CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, announced his intent to leave Sony in April 2024, so he'll be
That was a
gone.
big thing.
He'll be gone in a couple months, yeah. Epic Games laid off about 16% of its workforce in September, approximately 850 employees, including divestment of Bandcamp and the Super Awesome. And then in October, Nintendo announced that the online services for the 3DS and Wii U will discontinue in early April of 2024. So that's coming up. The acquisition of Activision Blizzard was completed following approval from the United Kingdom's Competition and Markets Authority. Kevin Afghani was announced as the new voice of Mario and Luigi. That was in October. And Bungie laid off about 100 employees as part of their cost-cutting measures due to lower player counts with Destiny 2. And Atari announced its intent to acquire Digital Eclipse for $20 million. And then shoring up the year right before Christmas in November, Blizzard Entertainment hosted BlizzCon, an in-person event at the Anaheim Convention Center in California. Ubisoft laid off additional employees, 124 worldwide, most of it's from Canadian studios. Blizzard Entertainment announced its intent to transition to Overwatch League into a more traditional esports structure. And then there was additional layoffs from Amazon, Digital Bros, Humble Games, Congregate, and Unity Tech also announced additional layoffs consisting of 3.8 or 265 employees as part of a company reset following its licensing changes in September 2023. It was a bad year for layoffs, but it was a bad year for tech in general because companies were hiring like crazy during the pandemic. And then they had to pull back, and it was not a good thing. Yeah.
That really is a lot of it. If people want to see an aggregate, there were so many this past year that videogamelayoffs.com is a site that's been tracking it. They actually made a site for it. There's so much information. And so if, you want to know, hey, is my studio that I, follow, that I like their games, are they still in business? Did they have layoffs? Because it shows closures and layoffs. So videogamelayoffs.com. And yeah, about 10,000 jobs last year. And I think we're already at close to 6,000 this year.
Yeah.
That's just incredible.
Yeah, it's not good. My partner is a software developer, and he was like, "Yeah, it's a really bad time in tech. Like everybody's
In
getting
other
laid
tech
off."
too, right?
And he's like, "The only reason I still have a job is because I'm the only one that knows how to do certain things." He's made himself
Yeah.
like indispensable. So, but yeah.
I mean, they say that the industry grew like 30% between 2020 and 2022, and they've been laying off about 15% or so. So maybe they've still grown, but no one should go through that. You know what I mean? The human toll, like just don't staff up
There's
if you're
been
not going
no
to keep it.
stability for these
No.
people.
That's even more of a problem, right, Jess? Because more profits and more layoffs, right? That's not how it's supposed to work.
Well, a height of irresponsibility. Okay, like we're not letting Microsoft off the hook here with 1900 that just happened this month. I know we're in 2023, but talking about irresponsibility, Activision had about 10,000, a little over 10,000 employees at the beginning of 2022, end of 2021. They grew up to 13,000 by the time Microsoft finished this acquisition. They hired 3,000 people while being acquired when everybody else was starting to lay people off.
Yeah.
I just, ugh.
By the end of the year, we saw the Game Awards honoring Best Video Game of the Year took place at the Peacock Theater in LA. Free Radical Design was shut down as part of the fallout from Embracer Group's failed $2 billion deal in the US. Google was found to have maintained an illegal monopoly in the Android market by a jury trial in Epic Games versus Google, which is shocking. Not many people take Google down. And Epic managed to do that. The ESA confirmed that they would no longer hold E3 trade shows for the foreseeable future. Activision Blizzard and the California Civil Rights Department agreed to a $54 million settlement in the lawsuit into sexual harassment at the company. Insomniac Games suffered a data breach and had its 10-year plans released, as well as personnel information and several historical details around the company and Sony Interactive Entertainment after failing to pay the hacking group to prevent its release. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, we reported it on this very show.
I don't remember that. And then lastly on this list, as part of Microsoft's acquisition, Bobby Kotick retired from Activision Blizzard after being its CEO for 32 years.
At least we ended on a good note.
Yeah.
Cherry on top.
Yeah, I did. There are some notable individuals or legends within the gaming industry that we unfortunately lost this year. Sam Wong-Hu was the founder of and CEO of Creative Labs. Earl Bowen, the voice actor across multiple media titles, including World of Warcraft and Monkey Island. Annie Wershing, actress known for portraying Tess in The Last of Us, and also Tassin in Anthem. The musician and creator of the PlayStation logo sound effect, Toru Okada, passed away on Valentine's Day this time last year. Voice actor across multiple media franchises, most notably the Japanese dub of Dr. Neo Cortex and Crash Bandicoot. We lost them as well. Other individuals, voice actors from Grand Theft Auto Vice City, Batman Arkham Asylum, and the animated series, as well as Fallout New Vegas, the voice actor known for doing Benny, Matthew Perry, tragically passed away in his home in California at the age of 54. So just want to take a moment and remember all of those beautiful, wonderful people who contributed their brilliance to making our lives so much better through video games. We also seen quite a bit of hardware and game releases. Specifically, we saw the new Razer Edge, the PlayStation VR 2, Asus ROG Ally, MetaQuest 3, the PlayStation Portal, the Steam Deck OLED version, and the Atari 2600 Plus released this year. Those were
this
new
is the
consoles.
Plus.
Yes, the Plus. Yeah. Yeah. And I won't go through the very, very exhaustive list of all the games that released this year, but we do have some statistics on that, don't we, Shalene, somewhere? Somebody had, I think it was RTZ13. Can we shout him out? Shalene, can you shout him out for a moment here?
RTZ13 is a wonderful pillar of the community who is one of our mods. Did you want to skip ahead to the game name, or is that what you're doing?
No, he had put together some stats for us about.
That was just for our game name award.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, that's pretty much our year in gaming then. Man, it's been a crazy year actually now that we revisit all of those things and I think about them again. Like that's wild.
Sad to see Arlene Sorkin go. I like the character Harley Quinn. Yeah. She put a lot of character into it. That she had so much pizzazz that she made that character become a thing.
Absolutely. She changed the way that Harley Quinn was perceived.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What's the year for gaming been like for you, particularly? I'll start. This is like impromptu conversation I'm just thinking about. So 2023 has been probably one of the worst years of my life on record.
Ouch.
Yes.
That's a string of words.
It was very bad, but video games got me through. I played some new to me titles like Animal Crossing and Zelda Breath of the Wild. These games saved me. They saved me, you guys, throughout the year. Animal Crossing was just like my way of getting Shalene back. What about you, Shalene? What's your year in games been like?
This year in game, I feel like I'm just gonna bring the whole show down. But I feel how am I gonna drop lower than it was the worst year of your life on record? But This was a year in gaming for me that was very disappointing. Not because the games were bad, the games were amazing, but because I didn't make the time to play enough of them. And I definitely got to feeling almost like a bit of an imposter being on this show sometimes because we would get to our gameplay segment and be like, yeah, I read some cool books.
Well,
I played Animal
yeah.
Crossing again. So this was a year that I did step back a bit. And that said, when I did compile my list of the games I played this year, it was like 26, 27 games, which is not nothing. But I do feel like this was a very light game year for me.
I didn't quantify the amount of games that I played, but I do want to point out that you are the Shalene. So
Yes, I wish I'd never told anyone that story.
The definite article.
so I
You
mean,
guys have made so much fun of me for that.
well, I think that clout alone validates your presence on this show. Tim, what about you? What's your year in gaming been like?
The cool thing about doing these at the end of the year, I actually got to see a bunch of these stats recently. Steam gave us a year in the review. According to Steam, and this is just Steam, I've played other things elsewhere, but 31 games played, 8 of them new, 131 achievements, 16 rare. The lion's share of gameplay, 7 Days to Die, No Man's Sky, and Baldur's Gate 3. And that's not to even scratch the surface of the 1,042 hours on Metroid Prime Remastered since that came out.
Wow.
And this stupid mobile game that has taken over my life.
What game is that?
It's a Marvel collectathon called Strike Force. And I
Oh,
accidentally found myself leading an alliance and we're running raids and there's wars. And man, I accidentally fell for another mobile game, but I don't feel bad because I'm not playing it like just about anybody else in the alliance. I
Okay.
have the patience of a saint, so you can advertise all you want. I'm only taking the free stuff. So, but it's a fun 5v5 kind of RPG lock picking, battling with all of your favorite characters, and you know,
So
a
I
lot of
just found the
stuff.
link. It's the Steam/year in review. Is that what you looked at? So
I
this is
yeah,
these are my stats. So I did 13 games, 4 of them new. Yes, that's pretty good for me.
that is
60,
good.
60 achievements unlocked across 11 games, 15 of them rare. My longest streak of games played was 23 days. Those are rookie numbers. We got to pump those numbers, Shalene.
wow.
40% of my play session time throughout the year went to Farm Simulator 22, followed by American Truck Sim and, shockingly, Astroneer. So, yeah.
A lot of
That's
sunflowers.
yeah. What about you, Jess? What's your year been like?
It's funny, great minds. Tim went for his stats, I went for mine too, because you do end of year in December, you get all these things. You get your Xbox year in review, your Twitch year in review, or Steam for y'all PC people. My Steam year in review is very sad, but Xbox says I played 41 games, about 1,400 hours, and
Wow.
509 of them were in Starfield. But that was early December, so it ended up being about like
Mhm.
560 in Starfield. My most played games, Starfield, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76. So very on brand. But I
Very
did
on brand.
Yeah.
did play like 41 games total. Like, I got some good indies in there. I got some great games, but that is the thing. For some of these categories we'll be talking tonight, I was telling you ahead, like I definitely nominated some games I didn't play in certain categories. But, I spend a lot of time on Twitch. We pay
Oh
attention to
yeah,
what
that
friends are playing
counts.
and watch
That
stuff.
counts.
So,
All of that
I'm
Hmm.
counts.
like tangentially aware of more games than I've played. So even without firsthand
Hmm.
experience, I'm happy to weigh in.
Hmm.
So I just to interrupt, I just ran my Steam year in review.
Nice.
4 games played. 4 games played.
4 games.
98% of the Steam time was Fallout 76.
Woman, well done. Bravo.
Most of my game time this year, I think, was spent on the Switch.
Definitely on the Switch or Fallout 76. Yeah.
Hmm.
just,
Yeah.
just as a what are you doing with your life moment too, My Twitch recap says 1,035 hours on Twitch. So yeah, that's a bit, but you can be on Twitch while you're doing other things.
Hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself every week when my iPhone gives me the screen time report. I was doing stuff. I
Oh my
just had
God.
YouTube playing while I was doing stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
motivational. Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I recently got that notification on my iPad, and apparently I put 50 hours into Final Fantasy Tactics last week on iOS.
Jesus.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah.
I love it.
I mean, I don't. How do you look at your Nintendo Switch stats? Can you?
Yes. Go to your
Yes.
profile, top left of the main
Okay.
hub there. Click on your little
I'll
bubble.
have to look because I'm curious how many hours I put into Zelda and Animal Crossing.
You can also set up the parental control app on your Switch, and it gives you a little report every month
So
of what you've
handy.
been playing.
That's
Telling on
handy.
So,
yourself, like
uh-huh.
Shalene, you would not believe what Shalene's been up to this month. Check it out.
You
Yeah.
should do that and then give Archon the access so that he can be like
I don't
Jim.
think I will do that, actually. No. I yeah, that
Goodness. Yeah. Sorry. Just got a message. Okay, so let's move on forward with the show with our GameStack challenge. There's a bumper for that. So, in our GameStack challenge, which has been long in waiting since I think before or just after Christmas, we asked you to send us a screenshot of your game of the year. And we did get some pretty awesome submissions. I did not include my own submission because I didn't want to spoil it, but I was going to. But, anyways. So this first submission comes to us from Frankels Konina. She says, jumping in here with my Game of the Year 2023, Stray Gods. It's a role-playing musical. One screenshot of this visual musical novel, but where it shines is the soundtrack, which is interactive. Your decisions affect the content and tempo of the songs. Absolutely glorious voice work, both sung and spoken. Musical direction, game pacing, story, just utterly divine. And she sends us this picture of these two individuals, and they both look like they're looking at someone very, in a very worried way. And one of them is holding a folded piece of paper, like it's a written note or something. Yeah.
It's a great photo. They both do kind of have a WTF moment going on.
Yeah. Like
Something
So-
just happened to their right, and they're both on
Those are
alert.
two of the main characters. That's Freddie and Grace. You guys know I really enjoyed this game a lot myself. And yeah, wonderful game, wonderful screenshot.
I'm gonna have to go back and play this.
Our next screenshot is from Suliore. According to my Xbox stats, the game I've played the most this year is Fallout 76. I've become a lot more social this year and have played with so many friends. And
Nice.
the first image that Suliore posts is this one of him and two other friends, standing on a table in somewhere, maybe a base, like a
That is
house.
probably Max
Yeah,
and
it's a
Kittens,
camp.
if I were to guess. Max and Kittens at the end of a stream, getting up to no good at the end of a stream.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mhm.
Table dancing, it happens.
More tables dancing, except this time in skis. Yeah, excellent. Somebody is. I love all these outfits. Who is this person on the far left with the owl head?
That would be Kaiju Kittens, a good friend of ours who also streams.
Are you in this photo, Jess?
I am in that one, actually. Yes. You see the person there with the treasure hunter outfit and the big old band, and of course the Fashionok beret. That is
Mhm.
I.
Very
Yeah, I
nice.
popped into one
I
of Kitten
recognize,
streams
yeah.
a few months back.
Mm. And we also have this one of the four of you, and this is I don't know where this is, Jess. I'm
And
counting
this is
on
in
you
one of the
to-
new areas.
Yeah.
I'm a little behind, so I'm waiting for the Twitch to catch up.
Oh,
This
somebody
is the
is
one with the
in.
neon on the left wall.
There's a screenshot. There's a screen share in
Oh,
Zoom.
cuteness.
In-
Yeah, I don't believe I'm in this one. But this would be at Quintino's, right? In the Atlantic City, one of the new
Mhm.
areas.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, someone's on the table. Actually, you're all wearing beautiful gowns. It's the same cocktail dress, I think, and shoes.
Yes,
Yeah,
that was the New Year's dress this year.
was with that cool
Oh,
little twist neckline.
I love it.
Hmm.
I like how
I love that outfit.
everyone brought their own uniqueness to it with like a different hat or
Hmm.
like accessory.
It's funny in 76 that is one of the things like headgear tends to be like our constant differentiator. People will
Hmm.
change their outfits, this and that, maybe weapons, but almost all of like the regular players I know, especially if they stream and do content creation, they've got something you identify them with. So that's why our friend Max always has her captain's hat on.
Mhm.
Kaiju Kittens always has that owl head. A bunch of our friends are like that. Steelior often wears a beret too, like me, which is cool, but he's known for more of a his New Vegas leather coat. That
Oh, the
classic.
Ranger.
Yes, the riot gear armor, the Ranger.
Yeah. And finally, this wonderful image. Is this in the White Springs? Maybe no. Anyways,
That's in someone's camp.
there's three. Somebody has devil horns on. Another one looks like Don Cherry with like a Gucci suit. And someone else is in coveralls with a mask and a miner's helmet. I love it. It's great.
Just
Teddy
yeah,
bears,
just
just shelves of teddy bears in the back.
I mean that's really what so much of 76 is about. It's partly doing the chore board and doing the dailies, hitting the checklist, but the rest of the time is just playing with friends, right? So I think that's what Silly was illustrating here.
They
Hmm.
said that's Brad's camp.
Oh, sweet. That's over on PC then. That would be Brad and Vitriol then. Writes Once Upon a Wasteland.
Hmm. The next screenshot comes to us from RTZ13, and he says, "To me, this award goes to Baldur's Gate, to the series as a whole rather than the three. Larian released an amazing game this year, achieving numerous awards and praise that I still have not played enough of. The series has been near and dear to my heart since its initial release in '98, and I'm really happy that Larian managed to get the world talking about Baldur's Gate again." And he posted this image of the Baldur's Gate map, um, with various locations
Hmm.
south of
And
Baldur's Gate, and yeah, it looks good.
notably, RTZ has been pushing the Baldur's Gate series in our community for years now. So he, he
Yeah, yeah.
was he was playing Baldur's Gate before it was cool.
It was
Good.
funny. He's also pushing like the GameStack marketplace, because after this post he said, also note Baldur's Gate 1 DLC and Baldur's Gate 2 are available in the GameStack marketplace.
Buy them.
Shout
Throwing
out to
them.
RTZ. Shout out
Yeah.
to RTZ. He hooked me up with the Neverwinter Nights Deluxe Edition on
Dope.
PC too, or the Enhanced Edition, because I've got the OG. I actually have a couple, the original box set, but Enhanced Edition I always wanted to try. So,
You know what
cheers.
my New Year's resolution's gonna be, Shalene? I just figured it out. Play the
Okay, let's
games
hear
that
it.
RTZ gifted me.
That'll
Oh,
take a couple years.
That
No,
is my New
but
Year's resolution.
I have a stack from him as
Because
well.
there's like two or
Um,
three games that he sent me in the last 6 months, maybe, and I haven't
I
got around
also
to
have a
them.
little stack from Rick that I haven't played yet too.
Oh man.
And I think Tim as well. I'm sorry, stop gifting me games, everyone.
Yes. I have a similar stack. I actually have a category in my Steam saying, gifted to me by blah 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 blah. So
Yeah, friend stack. RTZ gifted me Mass Effect, and
Oh, I think you'd like
I
it.
forgot to accept the gift, and then like 2 weeks later he was like, can you accept the gift because it's gonna like expire? And I was like, oh my god, I'm terrible.
I think you'd like Mass Effect. You should
Yeah,
try it.
yeah, I'm gonna try it. Yeah.
it is pretty good
uh,
from what
wow,
I've
Tim.
seen.
Yeah, for what he's seen, it's pretty good.
Hey, I actually just recently reinstalled that, so hold my beer.
I'm
Well,
just
I
gonna
don't want to give you too much garbo over it,
I'm just
but
gonna
yeah, I'm glad
It's
you enjoyed what you
deserved.
played.
just gonna
It's
quickly
deserved.
just hang on here. I'm just gonna quickly restart the screen share for you
But
guys.
Mass Effect being one of Shalene and my favorite series. I believe that's fair to say, right? One of them, Shalene?
Absolutely, yeah. I have the only bumper sticker I've ever put on a car is the N7 insignia on
Oh,
my current vehicle.
classic.
Respect.
Yeah, I knew I had gotten a job in the right place when one of my new bosses said, "Hey, are you a fellow commander?"
Screen share working now for you?
It is, yes.
Good.
Yep.
Yes, we're getting pictures now, and it looks great on Twitch still.
Vod Knocker said, this year I've got to give it to Starfield. The stats speak for themselves. Honorable shout out to Jedi Survivor 2. Not 2 as well, he means. I didn't play it for
Also,
nearly
yeah.
I didn't play
Hmm.
it for nearly as many hours, though I still thoroughly enjoyed the game and the experience. And he sends us this picture. Jess, you're most versed in Starfield. Why don't you explain this for our listeners?
It looks like it's a picture in Constellation right now. We've got, let's see, we've got Sarah and Vasco. It's in the main room, and I'm assuming that's their character in Starborn armor. So this would be on a New Game Plus.
Hmm. And he also sent us a screenshot of his stats. That should be our next challenge. Send your game stats. Send us your
That's a
game stats.
fun thing. Yeah, I think a few people posted them in December, but we need more. Always more.
Your stack stats. That's too hard to say. He sends us this one for Starfield. 331 hours played so far, 980 out of 1,000 gamer score.
Wow.
49 out of 50 achievements, and the rare achievement unlocked, shipping magnet, unlocked on October 20th. Only 0.74% of individuals have unlocked that achievement.
That's less than 1%. Less than.
I know, but I'm a
He's
biostatistician.
in that. That's cool.
It's
He's
like,
in that category though.
this image is absolutely fantastic. This is from Satyr. It is Star Citizen.
Beautiful.
They said Star Citizen would be my game of the year, even if I'll be searching and waiting for it to technically become a game for about the next 6 to 8 years. Baldur's Gate is good, but the cult keeps me calling back. And this is one of the best screenshots I think that we've had submitted.
I really enjoyed Satyr's Star
It
Citizen
is
screenshots.
phenomenal. His character is in full suited body armor with a small side helmet LED light shining into like a mysterious fog, and there is nothing else. There's nothing else in the background. It is just his person. It's awesome. Looks very good. And followed it up with this one of his character sitting on what presumably is public transportation of some kind in Star Citizen. Looks really good. Yes.
Star Citizen just looks neat. All my friends who have, pre-invested in the pre-release and occasionally play have great things to say.
Do you know one of those people that have spent like $40,000 on a
I
ship?
do not have any of the 40,000 crew that I know of because they may not admit it, worrying about being ridiculed. But I have some that are, several hundreds of dollars invested for sure.
Right. This screenshot coming in, another one from Sulior. Anyway, we can add this one to the mix. He says, have a great time with the group that included none other than Shalene.
I'm sorry, I think you mean the Shalene.
You
Get
said
it right.
not me. You said it, not me. And let me see. Let me guess which one is Shalene.
It's a little hard to see in that picture.
Are you the one?
It's a little hard to see.
Are you the one? You're not the one in the fruit hat.
No.
Though I would suspect. Are you the one in the white fedora?
Also, no.
Dang.
I am in the cowboy hat on the left side.
Oh, on the lifeguard chair
with the gloves.
Oh, in the back there.
Yeah, in the back.
Oh,
the hat and the gloves.
That's
the
great.
Starlit Sniper outfit. That's
this
my
was
Xbox character's signature.
This was from one of the charity events that Shalene and Sulior and a bunch of others were generous enough to come in and give us their time to kind of help raise funds for St. Jude over Christmas.
That was such a fun day.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And then we have this one from RTZ. Honorable mentions, he says, to Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty. And this is a screenshot of some very finely dressed individuals at a roulette table. Those chips are so cool. They're like holograms, and they show you how much the bet is. That's I wish we had that. Well, you might be able to do that with your Apple Vision Pro.
Mm-hmm. Get some AR glasses and go to the casino.
Yeah. And then this one of their car cruising through Phantom Liberty. So that is the screenshots and stories. That is people's GameStack challenges. And do we have a challenge?
Let's do your rarest achievement. What is the
Hmm.
rarest achievement that you've unlocked? Because you went over that one that 0.7 something people had gotten.
Yeah.
Let's just dig through your stats a bit, find the rarest achievement that you've gotten.
And then post us a screenshot of the proof, of
Hmm.
course, because we
And
won't believe you if you just tell us.
if you don't play on a platform that shows that statistic, just give us an achievement that you're real proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now on to the meats of the show. The Stack Awards. The actual Stack Awards. How exciting. So, we don't really have a format for this. We do have a list of and we'll just go through them.
It is kind of a format.
Yeah, we'll just go through them and then we'll just each host will say their nomination for the category and the reason why, and then we'll fight amongst ourselves about which one is the best one if we don't win it
Indeed.
by majority.
Buckle up.
The first category is Best Narrative, the best way to start the Stack Awards. And Jess, why don't you go first?
Okay, well, best narrative. This was an interesting one because, like I said, I played a lot of games this year, but not a whole lot of narrative heavy ones. And the majority of games I played were not from 2023.
Okay.
Uh, so I'm going through looking at narrative, and I had to choose Alan Wake 2
Mm-hmm.
as my nominee. Alan Wake 2, an amazing sequel, really cool story with some great moments. It's wearing that Twin Peaks influence proudly on its sleeve, and it's amazing. Now I haven't finished the game. That's so this is just kind of watching other people. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Alan Wake 2 for best narrative.
How about you, Tim? What was your nomination?
Um, I got to go with the Baldur's Gate on this one. There were so many different storylines that, you get to influence with multiple choice and kind of ride the ride, but there's so many that I want to go back and do again. And I want to see all of the nuance and all of the options. And there's like 17,000 endings put to
So
this game or
you're gonna do them
something. I
all,
just
right?
can't. But they are so good that it keeps pulling me back. This isn't going to be a one and done game. I'm going to want to see some of these other origin stories, their stories, you
That is
know.
really saying something, because
Yeah.
you're like me in that you tend not to get all the way to the end of games lately.
No,
And to
no.
say that you want to see the end of this game more than once, I feel like that is the highest sort of praise.
It is a big deal, and you're totally right. According to Steam, I finished 24% of my games.
Hmm.
I think that number is a little bloated. There's no way that I'm that high, but I do feel like once credits roll, I'm just gonna like watch credits once and then start a new save like right away
Mm.
because even as I'm going, there's other stuff I want to try, but I'm trying to get to the end because that's the goal, right? But I want to stop and talk to everybody and find out all of their stories, and some of them are pretty gripping, like kind of emotional. So I'm really excited.
You're
I've
Really
seen
saying,
good
that
stories will
happen
pull you
to a
through.
lot of people
Yeah.
with the beginning a second, third, fourth playthrough immediately.
hmm.
Mm.
What about you, Shalene? What's your nomination?
My nomination is The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Ooh.
Um, Anybody who's found more than one or two of those dragon tears knows just what I'm talking about.
Tears of the Kingdom. And my nomination is Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
For narrative,
um,
okay.
Yeah, well, I was trying to think. Alan Wake, I think, is probably the right choice for the Game Awards. That was the actual winner of the Best Narrative, and I do think that that's a great choice because it's a basically a visual novel, right? Um, Zelda for me, it's spread through memories of the past and talking with random NPCs that you meet. The story is so there, and you've got to search for it though and find it. And I think that is what makes this the key best narrative for me, because those stories are memories, and a lot of time,
Hmm.
even if they are fiction, Breath of the Wild has a way of sort of transcending time to bring those stories forward. So that is
Yes.
my narrative.
I'm
It's
always
not good.
surprised to hear that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and both of them have that much narrative. Because they look more like games where you're doing things. Open
And
world
they are
exploration.
really, but they do tell some beautiful stories as well.
And it's so interesting because they're the way these games are made, like the classic element of Zelda is that the NPCs don't actually really talk. It's just subtitles.
Mhm.
So there's no voiced narrative, but there is some voiced narrative in Breath of the Wild.
I love when you talk to them because they have this sort of version of like uh noises, just sounds that they make to sort of
Yeah,
indicate
somebody did a
the
thing.
tone of their
Someone did a thing on YouTube of it like being like short voice clips from like porn,
Oh,
because like
no.
all of the voices are like uh,
Ah.
uh,
A lot of cooing and grunting.
Mm.
Can
Yeah.
I just say 2023 was the year of grunts in games? I have played so many games with visceral grunts. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like jumping off cliffs with friends multiplayer. I'm like, do we need to get a room? Like this is just
yeah, pretty much. So how are we
Um,
gonna duke this out? Sometimes when we can't decide, we let the chat decide.
so you expressed some interest in saying that Alan Wake might be the correct choice. Are you wanting to throw your vote behind that?
I think that's the logical choice. Yeah.
Okay, so if you're willing to do that, then that gives Alan Wake a majority.
I would say that it's really about narrative. It has got such a cool meta. Like the story is convoluted and amazing. I mean, you're playing a writer, in a story about a writer, and there's references to him in the game from the original Alan
Mm-hmm.
Wake, and it all ties back. Like it's really complex, multiple character point of
Yes.
view too. It looks awesome. It's funny because I'll probably nominate it for one other award, but
Well, congratulations to Alan Wake 2 and the team at Remedy.
Good job.
and Zelda, if only you got Vendor to play Tears of the Kingdom, it would have been you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It would have been. It would have been. That is on my list, but I still have to get through 775 Korok seeds.
I'm so
Um,
impressed that you're doing that.
Oh, I
so
thought you were gonna
bad
say
man.
700 games from RTZ. I'm like, oh,
that's also true. Yes, accurate. Yes. Our next category is best art. Now, these are games, obviously, that have created visually stunning parts or elements of their game. And Jess, you go ahead and start.
I get to go first again. My controversial picks are the first ones. I'm actually changing this on the fly because I had two. I really wanted to put Starfield in this category because hello, you guys, it has amazing art design.
It's a
Love everything
beautiful
about it.
game.
Mm-hmm.
But
It is
I think
very
my
pretty.
real nomination has to be, I know the planets and I just so much, but
Mhm.
I would say Hi-Fi Rush for best art design.
Ah,
Hi-Fi Rush.
I
That's not that bold.
unexpected.
That is a very, very artsy game, though. If you sit and watch that for 5 minutes, man, you'll be smiling with a tear come out of the corner of your eye.
The
It's
art
that's
so
style is
visually stunning.
something to
Mhm.
be had. Yeah.
That's what I love about it. It feels really fluid and fun to play. And obviously, it's not as detailed as like Cuphead, but like Cuphead, there are a lot of times while you're playing, you feel like you're playing a cartoon. You watch everything in the background, the foreground, the way the enemies react, the way you fight. Everything is in sync and with the music, and it has this really forward, just playing a cartoon kind of feel. So I really like Hi-Fi Rush. That's going to be my vote.
Cool.
I was going to show some B-roll, but I had to go through like 6 hours of commercials. Thanks, YouTube. Shalene, what about you? What's your nomination?
My nominee for this one is Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. This
Whoa.
game looks like a storybook and it's marvelous. It's just it's such a special game and I loved this game. Just really, it has this very special like hand-drawn art style and it's just it really appealed to me. It feels like reading a fairy tale.
And this is a game that you completed?
Of course not.
Wow, too soon, man.
I'm sorry. I really got the feel that you just like punch that one out in like a book.
Absolutely not.
Like you do a
No,
book.
absolutely not. But it is a beautiful, beautiful game.
It is very nice, yeah.
Mhm.
I like it.
Hmm.
How about you, Tim?
Um, 2023 best art for me, for the things that my eyeballs took in this year, No Man's Sky is going to get best art for me. When
Wow.
you
Oh,
when you look at the gaming sphere as a whole, there really is a lot of samey same as far as styles and presentation, right?
Mhm.
There's, fantasy games, sci-fi games or sci-fi games, like there's a lot of similarities and things, but when you look at No Man's Sky, you everybody recognizes No Man's Sky as soon as they look at it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? There's no other game that looks like it. From the ship composition, the races, the glyphs on stones, the way planets and everything looks, you know what you're looking at. And I really like that distinction. And, I go back and forth between No Man's Sky and Elite Dangerous, and there's same vibe but very different presentations. And I think my eyeballs actually prefer the No Man's Sky. Like the edges
Yeah.
aren't as hard.
Yeah.
Some of the colors are a little softer. It's a little more appealing when you're flying around to just
Yeah.
look at stuff. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's it for me.
the really interesting thing about No Man's Sky is that it had this really rocky launch. And then, Sean Murray put in all this time and effort and never let people down after that point. And then No Man's Sky became sort of like this landmark game where it was a gold standard for what people compared games to moving forward. And it was so interesting to see how Starfield came out and people were comparing it to No Man's Sky.
hmm
And I'm like, that's saying something about this game. So great choice.
I do have to ask Tim on
Hmm.
this one. Did you just start playing No Man's Sky this year, or what makes it your 2023 nomination?
I got a lot of screen time with it. I've played it,
Mm.
a while before, but it's one of these things where there's kind of an ebb and flow to things. Friends hop off of one game and go to another. Like we all have these kind of communal things that we play, but I'll sneak off and I'll go fly around in No Man's Sky and play for an hour by myself, just
Mm-hmm.
lost in space for a minute. And it's a fun place to be. It's relaxing, as long as you're not in a dogfight or falling into a black hole. Everything's got a really nice vibe and aura to it. Like the color palettes are
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
are
Mm-hmm.
nice and smooth, and I don't see myself putting this one away. It's gonna stay installed for a bit.
It's good.
Nice. How about you, Vendor?
My nomination for best art is Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
It's a
This
good one.
game blew it out of the water
Mhm.
this year in terms of art.
Really
This
cute.
was, I don't know, Nintendo really flipped things on their head when they made this game. I think that they changed almost every single element of the game, from animations to color palettes, and it just totally changed the look and feel of Mario and what we've known for so many years. And they've really challenged the boundaries of 2D side scrolling. There's elements where you'll go into a tube in Super Mario Brothers, and then you'll pop out of a tube further away in the screen, and you're like playing the game still, but you're like further away in the screen, and yeah, the art style is, they've really done a good job. They've done a good job. So that's my nomination.
Great.
All right, here we are again at a
So
crossroad.
yes. Is
Well,
anybody has anybody been swayed by the arguments?
I have been somewhat swayed by the amazing visuals that Vendor's pulling up as well. Honestly, Bayonetta. I will tell you, Shalene, when you nominated that, I'm like, oh, I should have thought of that. So it's not a series I play because I'm not on Nintendo very much.
Mm-hmm.
But I loved the original Bayonetta, and I love the style of the games. And this new one, yeah, it really, I don't think it got enough credit this past year. So I'm willing to throw in with Shalene on art style for that.
Nice.
Well,
Okay. Plainly.
congratulations.
Anybody else?
No,
I
I'll
could
throw
back
my
that
vote at
play.
that. Yeah.
I could back that play. Super Mario Wonder looks great. I know I'm going to be playing that here pretty soon. I've seen Hi-Fi Rush, I've seen No Man's Sky, but I want to see more of that Bayonetta. Like,
Thank you
I'm
all for making
interested
the
in
right
this.
decision today.
Yeah.
And congratulations to the makers of Bayonetta. Your tiny, tiny stack award will be in the mail shortly. Yes. Our next category is Best Soundtrack. And I'm just going to throw this one to the wolves. Who wants to go first?
I bet Tim is very passionate about his choice.
I am very passionate about this choice. I went through every category on this list and I was like, what, but no, this one, instantaneous answer, wrote it in ink, didn't have to think twice. Doom Eternal. I
I knew that
am
was coming.
still not tired of that soundtrack. Um, I have to tell you, I chirp the tires in my car way more often when that stuff comes on than any other song. I can't listen to that stuff in the car because as soon as I do, that sense of elation, the endorphins are released, and it's just like throwing NOS into the engine. When I hear these songs, I'm just like, turbo drive engaged. Like, oh my God, mistakes were made. So for me, like, yeah, Mick Gordon, the layering of some of the guitars, not just like the
Mhm.
notes, but the way that they stack some of the levels of intensity is just so good. So good.
Nice.
What about you,
Good
Shalene?
choice.
What's your nomination?
Okay, don't get mad, you guys, but there was only one game that popped into my head when I was trying to think back and remember soundtracks, and that was Dave the Diver.
Yes.
Does have good music.
It's not spectacular, outstanding music, but it really fits, and it's just it's calming, and it's the only one I remembered out of the games that I played this year. It was the one that stuck with me. So that makes it my nominee.
Okay. And you, Jess?
Well, I stuck with a game from this year again. So best soundtrack for me is Stray Gods, the role-playing musical.
Oh
I've
yeah.
waxed about it already. We talked about it a little bit in the
Mm-hmm.
pre-show
Yeah.
with, I believe it was Frankel's sharing that screenshot.
Yes.
Yeah, the music is wonderful. Written by Austin Wintory. Did you guys know that Austin Wintory did the Lego Fortnite soundtrack too? So he's getting his music really out there now.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, he was best known, of course, originally for Journey and a number of other games, but he
oh,
was one of the
Journey.
writers on Stray Gods. The thing that's amazing about the soundtrack is that they had to create a musical, write a musical that fits the characters with the characters' lines, the passion, keep the story moving, but they also had to let you choose your own adventure. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's your playthrough. You're romancing who you might want or nobody. That's like 5 different options there. There's different attitudes you can take per song. They had to make the music so that it could hook together and still flow in various combinations. So I think I mentioned when I was on before about it that they actually released 4 versions of the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
3 for each emotion and then one kind of mixed across all the different emotions and attitudes.
Mm.
Very
It's
cool.
compelling. It's got hooks that stay with you. I have been humming and singing this off and on for a good 6 months now. So, yeah, best soundtrack for me, Stray Gods role playing musical.
That's great. All
What
right.
about you, Vendor?
This one was a really weird nomination for me because I actually found it not through the game itself. Um, I was watching The Last of Us this year, and I realized, wow, this music is amazing.
It's
And
so
then I
good.
thought to myself, I wonder if it's the same composer as that which is in the Last of Us video games. And so my nomination for best soundtrack is Last of Us Part 2. I really think that Gustavo Santaolalla Lala is just phenomenal.
I listen to that soundtrack all the
He
time.
finds the perfect balance between terror and beauty, and I think through these like incredible acoustic renderings of different string instruments, it's
Mhm.
so good. So yeah, that is my nomination.
Did they bring that forward into the show at
They
all,
did.
too? Last of Us show was this year.
That's how I discovered the
Yes.
soundtrack
Mm-hmm.
because I heard
Mhm.
it in the show, and then because I haven't played either game, but
Both worth playing.
watching the show qualifies
Um,
me to nominate the soundtrack.
I would like to throw my vote with Jess for Stray Gods
I
because I
agree.
believe that was musically quite an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
The game is a musical. I feel like it kind of just wins.
Yeah,
It's a slight advantage there. Thank you guys. I
that
am
was the
really
whole
passionate
point.
about that, but these are all awesome soundtracks we mentioned.
Congratulations to the developers of Stray Gods. Well done. Your teeny tiny GameStack award will be dispatched shortly. The next category, very similar to best soundtrack, best audio. Now, this is not soundtracks. It is sound effects within games. And why don't we start with you, Shalene? What's your nomination?
Okay, so this one again is going to be Dave the Diver for me because this is what I remembered. This is what stuck out to me. The little bloop bloop noises of being underwater and the little choppy chop noises of some sushi making and it was just very wholesome and very entertaining and it brought me joy and these were the sounds that stuck with me.
Tim, what about you?
I struggled with this one. I had two, and they both came to the forefront of my mind almost immediately. The runner-up was Dead Space, that remake.
Good choice.
That play that game in headphones. There's no other way. It's so good. But what ultimately I ran with was Forza.
Also a good choice.
I the hair gets prickly when the turbo kicks in or
Mhm.
that muscle car hits 7,000 RPM. Like the sound design of every kind of car with every kind of exhaust
It's
with
hard to
every
do.
kind of tire on every kind
Yeah.
of surface, like there's so much audio feedback in that game that is
Yeah.
necessary that I gotta throw it to turn 10
It's
because
interesting. I think Rick also previously nominated Forza
it's
for
with good
best
reason.
audio in the
There's a
past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like when you're driving an actual car, you get that audio feedback of a tire screech, and either A, you're losing
Mhm.
traction, or two, you broke traction.
Yeah.
So just for the
Yeah.
record, which version of Forza?
Well, right now it's Horizon, but Motorsport as well. I'd go
Yeah.
Horizon because that got more of my eyeballs this last year.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah.
Motorsport came out this past year, but Horizon has really intense sound design.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's so good.
My nomination would
Yeah.
be a Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I played the original Plague Tale Innocence, which earned a nomination and I think was awarded Best Audio in a previous Stack Awards show.
It was our game of the year for a
In the
previous
past,
Stack
yeah, yeah.
Awards. Yeah.
So I did a little bit of research and I watched some gameplay on Plague Tale Requiem, and it is just as phenomenal, if not even better, than Plague Tale Innocence. So the game
Nice.
is right up there, I think, in terms of audio with Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, in
Oh,
that it
That's saying
brings
something.
I get chills just thinking about it.
a level of spatial awareness to the next level as sort of a main component of the game's immersive experience. Jess, what about you?
That's brilliant. Yeah, Plague Tale Requiem would be my pick for this year as well. It
Yes.
is
Nice.
it's on Game Pass if people want to try it, or it was. I think it still is.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. The reason I know it's good, when I think about best audio, I'm thinking more, sound design, atmospheric audio, that kind of thing, like we're
Yes,
discussing. So,
exactly.
games like Hunt Showdown, which is
Yes,
just,
Hunt
whew,
was my nominee once.
Where playing
Mhm.
the game depends on those elements, right?
Mhm.
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Hmm.
Senua's Sacrifice or Senua's Saga this year. I have a feeling that could be a shoo-in if it's half as good as
Yeah.
Senua's Sacrifice for next year. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Plague Tale Requiem. It's so creepy that I can barely play it. You know what I mean? I didn't get
Right?
very far because
Right?
I'm not great with horror games, and Ratnadoes are maybe a step too far.
Mm,
Yeah, I struggled to
so
get
good.
through the first one. It was intense. I had to go to therapy after. Kidding, kidding. Well, it looks like Plague Tale is taking the bacon on that one. So, congratulations, Plague Tale Innocence. I mean Requiem. Yes.
And the tiny, tiny little GameStack trophy will be just the right size for your swarm of rats to carry it away.
Yes. Our next. Sorry, you broke me.
Our next category is best acting. So this is typically we think of the best acting in terms of our on-screen portrayals of player characters or NPCs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Thunder, why don't you go first?
Well, Shalene, there is only one logical choice here, and that is Idris Elba for Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh.
This should have been the real winner. I'm not bitter about it at all, but this should have been the real winner at the Game Awards. Just
Okay,
saying.
that's a good choice though.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Shalene?
Um, I
Flips
have
pages.
yes, I'm just looking at my notebook here. I have Tears of the Kingdom listed because that was what I played. But I actually would like to on the fly send my vote to Idris Elba for Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty because that's way better than what I came up with.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to
Um
continue doing the show with me, that would be the right choice. No, just kidding.
yeah, I mean
Wow.
plainly it is the right choice and I feel like I should have remembered that.
It's okay. It's okay.
Mhm.
Tim, what about you?
Man, you guys are making me jealous. I can't wait to get on the bandwagon with this Cyberpunk game. I've been watching from afar the shit show, and
Wait, you haven't
apparently it's
played it
made
yet?
good. No, it's been wish listed since before it came out because I love this kind of stuff. But like,
Shit, okay.
like I said, I've been watching, and with the way the internet set that thing on fire when it first came out, I was,
It
Right.
was it was a trash
I
fire when it
wasn't gonna
came out
go
of the
there,
oven.
but
Yeah, yeah.
it really seems like from that 10,000 foot view that they pulled almost a Hello Game switcheroo and they made something out of nothing kind of situation. And I'm really excited to see the finished product, especially now that they've got, a full game overhaul kind of a
Oh,
thing.
it's fantastic. Yeah.
I'm ready. I'll jump into that here sometime in the near future. Best acting for me though, um, I hope I'm not going to start sounding one note, but Baldur's Gate 3. Um,
But who did you pick?
Well, when was the last time a game made you actually care about your companions? I mean, genuinely care about
I
their
mean, all of
well-being.
them. I get real
Yeah,
attached.
we could vary.
I don't always. I like the story and I'm along for the ride, but a lot of the times, like my perception is from that third person perspective. I'm not in it. But with this Baldur's Gate game, I am. There's so much nuance. Games are now crisp enough that you can notice an eyebrow get raised if a character doesn't exactly believe a
Mm,
thing you just
mm,
said.
mm.
There's posture changes and emotive expression, and these characters, they are full-blown characters. They're fleshed out with amazing voice acting and mocap, and then you catch a look, somebody looks at you, they don't even have to say something, they can just look at you, and you look back and you're like, I know what that look means.
Wait, wait,
You
wait.
didn't even
So
have to
so
say
who
anything,
you didn't say who the voice was, who the actor was.
Hasn't
well,
picked one yet.
Oh,
that's and
you're
that
nominating
that's
all
the
of them?
problem. If I could, like, I'm gonna post it note all their names together in a big daisy chain. For the companions, I want to say Lae'zel. I feel like she's misunderstood, and
Wow.
you can come around pretty hard when you start getting in on some of
That's
the
played
deeper
by
aspects. Um,
Devora Wild. Oh, Devora Wild.
yeah,
She was
I
also she was Nika Yankovic in Cyberpunk.
see, bringing it
Yeah.
back around. Look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I will get to Cyberpunk. I will. That game looks pretty sweet, and I'm excited to play it. Best acting for me though. I even when she's not saying anything nice, I appreciate the character and its portrayal, and
My
there's some
first grade teacher,
nuance.
Mrs. Bell, would tell her that she shouldn't be saying anything at all. She can't say anything nice.
Well, the Gith are kind of a direct race, and I appreciate that kind of brutal honesty. So,
What about you, Jess? What's your
yeah.
nomination?
I'm gonna go with Elias Toufexis as Sam in Starfield.
Starfield. There it
Fantastic
is. The
performance,
first
fantastic voice
nomination.
actor. Yeah,
Excellent.
I really enjoyed his acting. A lot of great characters there too. Good breadth of acting.
Hmm. Excellent choice. And the winner here is Idris Elba with Cyberpunk 2077. Congratulations, Idris. We're not going to send him an award because that would just, I feel like, because he should have got it and he didn't. And if we send him a tiny stack award, it's just going to be awkward. So.
I don't know. I think that might make it up to him.
He can keep it
His
with
loss
him.
at the Game
You'd
Awards.
be like,
Yeah.
this is way better than the Game Awards.
But a stack award.
I can put it on my keychain. Exactly.
Okay, next category. Best shooter. And this is always one that I struggle with.
It
So I'll go
is,
last, but someone else go first.
I'll go first
Okay.
because I had talked to you guys. I kind of changed it to best shooter action because I didn't have a best shooter this
That's
year.
right.
Mhm.
And I think a couple of us didn't. So that may change it a little bit. But I really wanted to get this game in here because it's awesome. It's an action game, and it's a little bit underrated. I think that would be Lies of P.
Interesting.
I've heard good
Timothy
things.
Chalamet as Pinocchio. I mean, not really, but kind of.
He
You
looks
know,
very much like Timothy Chalamet.
a very dapper Pinocchio in a bit of a Souls-like kind of game, but it has its own vibe and feel. People compare it the most to Bloodborne. It's very cool and great action, really tight control. Just yeah, it's the full package. I like this one a lot.
Lies of P is one of the games I think that I had on my list of games that I wanted to play this year and didn't,
Mhm.
because of its art style, and it's also kind of a period piece.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's worth loading if not completing.
Yeah.
Wicked Wolf told me I would love this game, and I think he's right.
Mhm. He has impeccable taste.
Tim, what about you? What's your nomination?
I absolutely have a best shooter. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm a fan of Doom. And after Doom came out, there was a game called Quake. They went from, almost 3D to actual 3D with Quake. Well, Quake 2 just got an enhanced edition and they dropped it during QuakeCon.
Ooh.
It had the full single player campaign alongside all previously released official expansions and multiplayer maps. It's the first console version of the game to be presented in native widescreen at a resolution of 1080p and 60 frames per second performance on the 8th generation platforms, while the PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and Windows release are able to support native 4K resolution up 120 frames per second with compatible displays. The Xbox Series X and S and Windows release also supports 8-player split screen. What? The version of this game also introduces a new single player expansion. New content for Quake
Wait,
2.
what?
It is
New
called
content for
it
Quake
is
2?
called Call of the Machine. It was designed exclusively for the enhanced version by Bethesda studio Machine Games. Anybody a fan of their stuff? Comprising 28 additional levels and a new deathmatch map. They also included the Nintendo 64 version of Quake 2, also bundled in the enhanced version, just as a bonus. But yes, new content for Quake 2. You heard it here. New
So
content.
what makes it different for you personally? What makes you nominate this for
Um,
best shooter?
you kind of can't beat the best at the best of the best because, I mean, follow the lineage. Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake. They kind of perfected the shooter for everybody on every platform. They
Okay.
figured out the
Okay.
formula before anybody else. Quake is I've played Unreal Tournament, I've played Call of Duty, I've played all these other shooters, and I tell you what, Quake. Quake is the
Okay.
best shooter, period.
Jess, what about you?
It just
What's
is.
your nomination?
So I went with Lies
Sh
of P, but we have Shalene next.
Oh, Shalene.
Okay, this was a tough one for me because I didn't really play anything in this category. But I did play a game where you shoot a gun, and that was Control.
Oh,
And that was not a this year game. That was like a 4 or 5 years ago game. But my nominee for the 2023 Stack Award for Best Shooter is Control.
I
My
feel like that counts.
okay, great. Control. I also, you guys know that I'm not really Shooty McShoot. So my nomination for best shooter slash action is Deep Rock Galactic, and it's been out for a few years, but that is one of the funnest first FPS games that I've played in a very, very long time.
that is awesome.
Okay.
Noting that Quake is still playing on the B-roll. Sorry about that.
Um,
Jess, your nomination?
So I would put my lot in. Let's see on this. So I felt Tim swayed me quite a bit.
Agree.
I
Uh,
agree.
Yep.
being a game that came out this year. Yeah, Lies of P came out this year, but he went with the shooter category. He's right, and best of the best with id. So, I'm kind of feeling that. I don't know about you guys.
Congratulations,
I'm with
Quake
you.
2. You have won the universe. Well done.
Like you said, best of the best. I mean, you're there, you're talking 8K this, 16 player this. I'm like, Tim, you had me at
Yeah.
Quake 2.
Yeah.
Next
It's real good.
category, best open world. And I'll start with this one because I'm curious what Shalene's going to say. I nominate Zelda Breath of the Wild for best open world. And if any of you have seen the map in Breath of the Wild, it will take your breath away. It is massively huge, massively huge. There's so much that I still have not discovered, and I've spent many hours.
To that, I will say, oh, you sweet summer child.
Mhm.
My nominee is Tears of the Kingdom.
I second that.
I was going to
Absolutely.
try to go next after you, Vendor, because I put Tears of the Kingdom. And I was going to let Shalene explain why.
Man, Vendor, absolutely everything you just said about Breath of the Wild now has an attic and a basement because there's stuff up in the sky,
Yes.
there's stuff underground, all that stuff is still on the ground that you want. Like,
Amazing. I'm
it's
so
all that
excited.
and
I
more,
thought the
and then
map was
some.
huge, and then I jumped in a hole
Yes,
and realized that I had not yet begun to explore this game.
So
the
Wow.
Tim, what is your
yeah.
nomination then?
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Capital T, capital E, capital A, capital R. It's Tears of the Kingdom.
Yes.
Man, Shailene,
Well, I,
fist
I
bump.
feel
Like,
like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like
yes.
I've got a bit of FOMO. I'm like the little brother trying to play with all the big brothers and sisters. Like I have Zelda Breath of the Wild and it's the best thing ever cuz I'm cool like you.
It's real
Yeah.
Yes.
good though. It really is.
You are going to just be amazed at how well this game improves on some of the systems and some of the things that made Breath of the Wild beautiful.
Well,
Mm.
congratulations Nintendo. You certainly don't need the accolades, but we will be sending you our tiny little stack award in the mail. Our next category is Best RPG, Best Role Playing Game. And Tim, why don't you go first?
I mean, it's based on the best role-playing game ever made. It's Baldur's Gate 3.
You'll
I
notice
mean,
I typed in your nominee before you said it.
this is true. It was present on the show notes. So, I mean, the character creation is so robust. The list of choices and options are plentiful. Good, bad, or otherwise, you can play any way you want. You can be the good guy, you can be the bad guy, you can save the world from the evil supervillain, or you could sit on the throne on high as the supervillain at the end. The variety of role play available to you at this game um, is so beautifully realized in Baldur's Gate 3. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons almost as long as I've been a walking, talking human. I love the idea of, playing pretend and having a little
Mhm.
escapism. I've recently started my own tabletop game, and you know what we all were talking about while we were sitting around waiting to play a tabletop game? Baldur's Gate 3.
Of course.
The
Of course.
It's so
Great.
robust. There's
Shalene,
so much to
Shalene,
do.
what's your nomination, Shalene?
Okay, I haven't played it yet, but my nomination is also Baldur's Gate 3 because I have seen enough to know that this is that there's no competition. This is the best role-playing game that's come out this year.
And Jess, what about you?
I put Baldur's Gate 3, of course.
And I also put Baldur's Gate 3. So by
What should we choose for the winner?
Well, obviously Starfield.
uh, well, congratulations, Baldur's Gate 3, Best RPG for the Stack Awards. Our next category, Best Puzzle. And I kind of feel like I know what Shalene's going to say, but I'm curious. What's your
You
nomination?
absolutely do not know what I'm going to say. My choice for this one is the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, which has this really fun system where you build tarot cards, like your own set of tarot cards, and they have different effects on the choices that you make in the game and the outcomes. And the puzzle of building your tarot cards is pretty cool. It was one of the neater game mechanics that I tried this year.
Well, that was unexpected. I thought you were going to say
Yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom, but
I actually was less impressed with the shrine puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom compared to Breath of the Wild.
For me, it is. I was actually going to put Zelda Breath of the Wild, but it's going to go to Arise, A Simple Story. Arise is an indie developed game that captures the emotion of and storytelling through puzzles and metaphor. And it's very, very subtle. Some of these puzzles, and some of them can be quite challenging to figure out, and you have to sort of control time. It was very good. So my nomination goes to Arise, A Simple Story. And Jess, your nomination?
So puzzle was a hard category for me. I wrote down three, but the one I listed first, which I think I have to go with, is going to be Planet of Lana. Planet of Lana is a great puzzle platformer in the vein of, say, a Limbo or Inside or that sort of thing.
Mhm.
It's a medium-sized puzzle platformer. It's a little bit longer than the ones I just named. It's probably 5 to 8 hours, depending upon how much you rush or not. And it has that vibe where it's you and then you and a friend. Yeah,
Ooh.
there's
I
a little
like it
bit of
already.
Ori, a little bit of
This
Ori in
is a
there, a little bit of
Shalene
out of this
game for
world.
sure.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. I believe it's on Game Pass. And it's just got some really neat puzzles, and it's a good variety too, like any kind of landscape game. And obviously, yes, it's got more color than like Inside or Limbo, but it's still that same kind of vibe. A little bit of a strange land. You don't have all the information. Characters don't really talk; they emote. And yeah, really enjoy it. Some great puzzles, and
I want to
a
play
lot of us
that.
played it when it came out. It was early summer, I think.
So what are we going to choose? Is this one where we let the chat?
We don't have a nominee from Tim yet.
Oh, Tim, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna look that one up. That looks neat. That looks like a Tim S. Tim game too.
I
I'm
thought
with you there,
I
Shalene.
kind of thought Tim said Baldur's Gate. They're all blurring together now.
No. No, this one I kind of went backwards in time a little bit. So this may seem a little unorthodox, but Batman Arkham Asylum, my long-running Saturday
Mm.
morning cartoon series next door started a Batman the animated series a little bit ago. We're currently on the back half of season 3, and it made me want to take another crack at the Riddler challenges in Arkham Asylum.
Okay,
So I
okay.
played it back on the 360 back in the day, didn't get far, attention span, but I kind of want to get back at that. Some of those are pretty perplexing, and I like the style of gameplay in that it's a 3D beat 'em up Metroidvania style, so like it feeds the happy vibes. But I want to beat the Riddler. I want to get another crack at that guy.
It's great.
I don't know how we choose. How do we choose? Do we let the
None
chat
of
choose
these
this
are
one?
like one another.
They're very different
No,
puzzles.
They have all very different games. Yeah.
wildly different. Does anyone in the chat have a vote?
So Planet of
Let's
Lana,
see.
Batman Arkham Asylum, Arise, A Simple Story, and the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood. One,
I will.
two, three,
Wait,
and 4.
Okay,
Shalene,
we've
you
got a
picked
vote
Cosmic
for
Wheel
Arkham
Sisterhood?
Asylum. I did, yeah.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I missed the name of the game when you were describing it. Yeah, join the
Uh-huh.
coven. That is a good game.
Isn't it great? Isn't
Yeah.
it great? It's so cool. So cool.
So are
Hmm.
you throwing your vote behind that? Is that what you're telling me?
No, I'm still gonna let chat choose. I like Planet of Lana.
I will swing vote at that Planet of the Lana because I'm interested in this. I
Okay.
see this B-roll you played, and it looks
in
dope.
studio producer and Suliori in the chat are both throwing their hats at Arkham Asylum. So I think we may have a winner here. Arkham
Sometimes you gotta
Asylum
respect a classic.
for best puzzle. Well done.
Grand.
The crowd is shocked.
Shocked.
What an upset.
Next category, best DLC or expansion, and I'll start Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. This is by far the best DLC that I've seen come out of a game this year or in 2023, and that is my nomination. Yeah, Jess, what about you?
Same. Phantom
Same.
Liberty.
2 for Phantom Liberty.
Absolutely. Yep.
And Shalene?
Okay, now just remember, everyone, the Stack Awards are about what our favorite thing was, not
Dave the Diver.
necessarily about what the best thing was. And I think I'm going to surprise you too, Jess. My favorite expansion DLC of the year was a very small thing. It was the Fallout 76 Cost of Business quest line
Oh
that
yeah.
fleshed out the Blue Ridge Trading Caravan characters and
Now this
and
is
gave
the
us
this
some
is the
more
one where
information on
you did
those
your
people.
job. You did your job in the game.
Yes,
Like your real life
yeah.
job. Yeah. I remember you
It
telling
was
me
really
about.
fun.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go, Vinny Costa. Yeah, yeah. What a great little expansion there. We got the Blue Devil, we got the Agua, we got the Costa business, and all that fleshing out the Blue Ridge Caravan. They got a new location.
Mhm.
You can even sit at the bar and drink now.
I
Yeah,
really
good one.
enjoyed going through that quest line day by day because you had to wait a day between quests and going back and doing jobs for Vinny and learning more about these characters that I'd already spent so much time with. It was fun.
Did you like the payoff at the end?
I did, yeah, really enjoyed it.
Tim, what about you?
The seventh downloadable expansion pack for the Elder Scrolls Online is called Necrom, and it allowed us to go
Mm.
to Apocrypha, which is the coolest place I've seen in
Ooh.
a video game in the last 20 years. That's got to be it for me. I really dig the way they recreated some of the just books
Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
I
You know,
love Apocrypha.
It's a great
it's such a
nomination.
visually stunning
It's what my
place.
apartment looks like.
Yeah. The
Yes.
game that does take it away for this category though is Phantom Liberty Cyberpunk 2077. Well done. Our next category, Best Independent Game. Best Independent Game. And I am going to throw my head in for, again, Arise, A Simple Story. I think that this game really nails it in terms of capturing that emotion. The maps themselves actually represent each part of the life story and of the character, and you feel like you're really part of that story in a way that I've never seen in another game. It also kind of allows you to feel the main character's emotion more closely. It's very simple. The world is very minimalist, but there is so much detail in the minimalism that you really miss things if you don't pay attention. So, Arise, A Simple Story for me. What about you, Tim?
I know indie means different things to a lot of people, so I had a rough time with this one, but 7 Days to Die um
That
has
counts.
kept my attention for a lot longer than I have expected, and I'm still playing it. I'm still hosting
Okay,
servers. I'm still
great,
enjoying that
great.
world.
Jess, what about you?
I went with Sea of Stars. Just a small little RPG, didn't get enough credit. Kind of the heir to Chrono Trigger
Yeah,
and many other games took inspiration from. It's a fantastic 2D classic RPG with great story, great characters.
Mm.
Shalene?
My nominee is a little game called Witchcrafty, which is an action
Oh,
platformer where you play as a little tiny adorable witch trying to save the forest.
I'm willing to throw my vote towards Witchcrafty. Yeah.
on account of the cute name?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and the short one sentence descriptor swayed me. Yeah. Well done, Shalene. Anyone else want to throw their hat towards Witchcrafty?
I'm sticking with Sea of Stars, but saluting the winner, Witchcrafty.
Yeah,
Well,
you had me at Chrono Trigger like, but
It's good.
Witchcrafty is pretty crafty. I dig that.
It was an
well, they
adorable little
certainly know
game.
their craft
And it's
because
very like it's much more hardcore than you would think. There were a couple spots where I got really frustrated and the in-studio producer had to step in and help me.
well, best independent game for the Stack Awards goes to Witchcrafty. Well done. Our next category, best multiplayer. And I struggled with this one and I'm still struggling, so I'm going to let maybe Shalene, you can go first.
I do not have a this year game for multiplayer that I played, but I got extreme, huge, tremendous amounts of joy out of the multiplayer experience of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and that is my nominee.
I'd be surprised if that wasn't it.
That is also my nomination. Yeah. I had it written down, but I was thinking about It Takes Two. But Animal Crossing is really what it is for me. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the year of Animal Crossing for us.
Yeah. What about you, Shalene? Jess?
Okay, so yeah, hard category again. The multiplayer games I played the most were Redfall and Fallout 76, but not nominated Redfall, and the other one's old. So I put down Street Fighter 6 as just a great multiplayer game, a really good Street Fighter game. But no
Okay.
particular reason, just good.
Tim, what's your nomination?
There were very few games that feel as satisfying as Diablo, and with Diablo
Ooh, good
4, the world now
choice.
seamlessly integrates multiplayer, and enlisting help tackling difficult story content or huge world bosses, it couldn't be easier. You just kind of go stand around the middle of town and go, help, and meeting up with
Diablo
friends and
4.
stuff.
Diablo 4?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So we've
absolutely.
got Diablo 4. We've got it wasn't Sea of Stars. It was Fallout 7. No, it was
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6
But I'm
They're right
and
here
changing
in the
Animal
mine.
notes.
Crossing.
I'm putting my points in behind Diablo 4.
Oh
So we've got a
no.
tie.
You
Oh
know
We've got a
what?
tie.
no.
I think obviously the winner has to be the game that came out in 2023. So,
I think that we should probably yield to that. Although
yes, let's
it's
go with Diablo
yeah.
4 for the winner.
Y'all thought I was going to say Baldur's Gate, huh?
Best old game. Now, this is a category that we've added ourselves. Best old game not released in 2023 that we played this year. And for me, this is also Animal Crossing New Horizons. What about you, Shalene?
For me, it was Control. I missed Control the first time, and I'm sad that I missed it, and I need to go back and finish it now.
Tim?
Final Fantasy Tactics. That is killing the battery in my phone every day.
Jess, what about you?
I put Fallout 4 because
Oh,
I
so
played
good.
Fallout
Ooh.
4 Survival this year for the roundtable. Yeah.
I
I
think
feel like with the heritage that we have,
yes.
it has to be
It
Fallout
has to be
4.
Fallout 4. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna hit the
Yeah.
bumper because
I know it's
yeah.
silly, but it goes on.
Well done.
I would happily concede to that one. I would feel odd. Just
Bethesda now has to get a bookcase in their lobby for all
For
of the
the teeny
stack
tiny
awards
trophies.
that we've sent them.
They
Yeah.
can get a dollhouse, like a dollhouse furniture, and put the little trophies in.
Okay, the next category, this is a new one I think that we've added, courtesy of RTZ13. Biggest surprise for
No,
us.
this one
No?
we had this one
This
last
is an
year.
old one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is an old
Biggest
category.
surprise for you this year, Tim. What's been your biggest surprise?
Nintendo
games.
shadow dropping Metroid Prime Remastered during a Nintendo Direct and set the internet on fire.
hmm
That was
Yeah,
a good one. That was a good one.
that was
Jess, what about you?
brilliant.
So yeah, this one was interesting. I put a non-game as my award. I put Double Fine Psych Odyssey. Double Fine
Ooh.
Psych Odyssey was a behind-the-scenes video series about the making of Psychonauts 2, filmed over several years by Two Player Productions. 22-hour documentary. It's
Nice.
done in episodes. I think there's 30 episodes. I've only seen a couple, but it's really neat. If you ever wanted to know
I watched the
how
first couple of that too. It was
it was
amazing.
made, yeah, just really, really good. So I was really surprised that was just so awesome.
And Shalene, what about you?
Mine was Dave the Diver. I was just blown away by how good this game was and how much I loved it. And like every time I think I've gotten to see what the game is, it's something else. You know, they add something new and there's so much more depth than you'd expect. Dave the Diver.
My nomination for biggest surprise for me was Animal Crossing.
hmm
I really, and it is the biggest surprise because I've spent the last 5 years listening to Shalene talk about it and thinking, this is really not the kind of game that I would play, but it's nice to hear her stories about it. And then I played it and I was like, this is amazing. I love everything about this game. Biggest surprise. Anyways, I don't know how we choose. Once again, here we are.
I'm willing to throw my hat to Metroid Prime
Yeah.
because
Yes.
that was a huge shock and a game that I very much was excited about and still haven't played.
And
need to
Tim's
play.
passion for it is, I respect that.
Mhm.
Everybody was chomping at the bit for news on Prime 4, but Nintendo was like, throw you a bone, surprise.
Mhm.
So
Well, congratulations, Metroid Prime 4.
And if you have a Switch, you should be playing Prime Remastered.
We're just humming along. The next category is WTF, the game that made you question your existence this year. And I'm going to abstain from this one because I don't actually have a nomination. So you three can duke it out.
Mm.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start us off then. I I thought of mine immediately, and it was Pokemon Sleep.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
What
our,
is
our,
even
our,
happening?
our tap games are like clicker games, like too much for you. No, play while you sleep.
Tim, what about you?
My WTF was the Dead Space remake. I like to think I'm a big, tall, scary, strong man, but I quiver and squeal and scream at instances of this game that I know are happening because I've played it
Mhm.
before. But the way they rebuilt that game from scratch and added all kinds of cool lighting and man,
How's the
that's
evil fetus room in this one? That's I noped out of that in the first one
uh,
multiple times.
I mean, what do you want this podcast to be rated? Because I could use some four-letter words. That
Yeah,
game will
that's
gross you out. I
I
have
really
a rough
struggled.
time with some of the viscera in that game.
Jess, what's your nomination?
I don't have one either, Vendor. I'm with you. Not from
Okay,
this year.
so it's between Tim and Shalene.
We got Pokemon Sleep and Dead Space Remake. I feel like this is Animal Crossing and Doom all over again with
Yeah,
Shailene and I.
one you can't sleep
It's
and one you
so
can.
representative of our friendship, the Doom guy and Isabel meme.
Really is.
I'm not gonna back down from Pokemon Sleep being the WTF game of the year. I that was weird.
I'm okay conceding to that one because that is for me, that's even weirder than making games out of cardboard a la Nintendo. This is a whole new
Well, there it
level
is. There it
of
is.
of weird.
Congratulations, Pokemon, you weird, sleepy little game. The next category is not really an awards category. It is a very short nomination, which is an honorable mention of games that we want to shout out. And I think my honorable mention for that is going to be Starfield. I haven't played it, but there's very clear a love for it in the community, and I think it should be mentioned. Jess, what about you?
Boy, does it deserve that. Thank you. So I'm going to read, I wrote a little list. I won't comment on these. I'll just read a list of games that if you haven't played, you should consider playing, you should consider installing. A bunch of indies. These are all ones I thought wouldn't be mentioned today. So the fact two of them were. Kudos, kudos. But let me just read these off. Honorable mentions. Jusant, Venba, Coffee Talk 2, Chia, Slay the Princess, Oxenfree 2, The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, got mentioned. Goodbye Volcano High, The Making of Karateka, hello, like Atari
hmm
50, I love that.
hmm hmm
Octopath Traveler 2, can't believe it hasn't been mentioned. Chants of Sonar, Dave the Diver, Thirsty Suitors, Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot, even if it
Yes.
wasn't great, it's still Advance Wars, and House Flippers 2.
Great
Nice.
list.
Amazing.
There's some honorable mentions for you.
Tim, your honorable mention?
Man, I also had a list, but I distilled it down into three things. Mortal Kombat 1. I've already waxed poetically about that one on this podcast. Mortal Kombat 1 fixed so many things. It's so good. Mighty Doom on mobile. The most fun you can have in 2 minutes. I fucking love that game. And the System Shock remake that came out this year. Seriously, if you are into PC
I
games at
didn't realize that
all,
it finally come out.
yes. System Shock did stuff with games that games weren't doing when it came out. It changed the meta in a very strange way, and I don't
All
want to
right.
spoil
Well,
anything, but the System Shock remake is
well,
worth it.
Shalene, your honorable mention?
Usagi Shima, the mobile bunny game that I've talked about ad nauseum.
It
That
looks
game sounds like
adorable.
fun.
I love it. Okay. And on the other side of the coin, we also have a category, dishonorable mentions. Now, these are games that, had all the potential and they just ended up disappointing us. And my dishonorable mention for this category is Crime Boss Rockay City. This game had so much potential when it was announced. There is so many stars and big names and familiar faces in this game that launched, and it just was a total flop. It was a total flop.
Okay, that's the Chuck Norris game for anybody who's following along at home.
Yeah.
Okay, don't get mad, you guys. Starfield.
What?
I didn't like
Dishonorable?
it. I didn't like it. I thought it wasn't fun.
Wow.
I okay. I'm not here to argue your opinion, but didn't you only play an hour?
Oh no, I've played about 10 hours, but
Oh,
I've only made it about 3 hours in because I've played the first 3 hours like 3 times. Yeah.
3 times.
Wow.
Jess, what about you? What's your dishonorable mention?
my dishonorable mention was Embrace Your Group. I will take no further comments at this time.
Hmm.
Okay, and Tim, your dishonorable mention.
The game that caused Daedalic to shutter their doors, which was Lord of the Rings Gollum. I was so sad because I
Yeah,
had
that
hopes for
that
that one.
was kind of a mess.
All those were bad. All those were
Yeah.
bad.
All right, well, congratulations to all of those. You're all yes. We did add a weird category this year: the longest, most ridiculous title of a video game.
Okay, now this one, we enlisted some help from RTZ. He went through all of our of the games that we announced on this podcast
I'm
this
pretty
year.
sure he probably wrote a piece of software to be able to do this because
He used Excel.
Yeah.
He used Excel to narrow it down. And the game with the most characters in the title is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet: The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Indigo Disc. But I decided to just override that and because of ridiculosity, and give the award to Project Zero parentheses Fatal Frame parentheses Mask of the Lunar Eclipse.
Wow,
Too many colons in one game.
that is
I
one too many.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
too
congratulations,
bad.
whatever that was that you've just spewed out, that long game title. Congratulations, longest title. And now for the final category of our show, the game of the year, the one we always save best for last. Jess, why don't you go first?
Game of the year.
Ooh,
Well,
I'm excited.
some may call it dishonorable. Some may think that it didn't live up to its expectations. But my game of the year for 2023 is Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow,
What?
that was
That
unexpected.
comes out. I did
I was
not
not
see that
expecting
coming,
that.
ma'am. You
Same.
played us.
Morgan
You
Same.
played us,
Freeman.
Jess.
Morgan Freeman is going to be pissed.
Just like that game, there are so many twists and turns. But no, seriously, this is living up to the legacy of Dragon Age Origins, of the best of the Dragon Age, of the best of Baldur's Gate, of everything we wanted from a D&D game, from a role-playing game. One of the reasons why we even play role-playing games. Now, I knew that this was probably going to be my nomination end of last year before I even played it, okay? Because I didn't have a chance. I was 500 hours into Starfield. But I have been playing it now, and I can say, yes, it's everything I thought it would be and more.
Amazing.
Wonderful game, Baldur's Gate 3 Game of the Year.
I have to play this game.
I'm going to ask Tim what his nomination for Gaudi is because I have a feeling.
Again, I don't want to be one note, but Jess, you really nailed it. This is a game that is going to resonate for a long time. The modding community is going to keep it alive for absolutely forever, but the game itself, even just vanilla, can entertain and grip a great many kinds
So
of
good.
people
So good.
in the different styles that a lot of the storytelling takes. And it is a ride. It really is a ride, and it
Shalene?
has come a long way. I was part of the beta for like a year and a half before this game even came out. I got to see it in its broken state, and I tell you, it is shiny and beautiful, and I cannot wait to get back to it.
Shalene, what about you?
Wonderful.
What's your game of the year?
Well, I think that it's obvious to everyone that the best game that I played this year, the game that I put the most time into, was The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. And
Yes.
this was just a beautiful, beautiful game. And I haven't even played it yet, and I still throw my nomination to Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow.
I also nominate Baldur's Gate 3 for game of the year. So
There's a reason it swept.
there it is.
Congratulations, Larian Studios.
Stack
Expect
Award.
many, many small trophies.
So that is the Stack Awards, everyone. Thank you for joining us this evening. This show has been a marathon. Jess does have a heart out in a couple minutes here, so I am going to quickly go through our outro for the show. Thank you all for joining. The show is sponsored by Oak and Crow Coffee. If you head on over to oakandcrow.com, you can pick up a bag of We Just Love Coffee blend, and $2 from every purchase. That bag goes to the Children's Miracle Network. Don't forget, you can send us some mail in the MailStack channel on our Discord. We're on Twitter at We Just Love Games, Shalene at Shalene L, myself at VenderTron N, Tim at TimTwig81, and Jess at Sleep is for Tea. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/We Just Love Games, facebook.com/group/We Just Love Games, Discord as well. We record the show live every Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. We're on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, and all the other things. Thank you all for listening. And Shalene, what is our last word?
The winner is PUBG.
Dishonorable.